Eddy Reynoso announces that Canelo Alvarez will attempt to avenge Crawford loss in September. He has some type of surgery, I believe it was elbow surgery, and they're going to take the rest of the year off, and they plan to target Terence Crawford at the end of late next year. It was said, they asked Terence Crawford, did he hear, what did he think about Eddy Reynoso saying that? He said that's the first that I heard of it. So I think Turkey was right there during the interview. Man, at the end of the day, a lot of times when these fighters take that long time off, a lot of times they don't want to come back. A lot of times these fighters, what's driving him to come back? I mean, already conceding something, he can blame it on the injury, but he's conceding Cinco de Mayo. So Canelo might be done. This is saying what they want to do, and then by the time they get back to ramping that engine up, it may be a whole different, I'm good. I made enough money. Then you got to make sure the elbow right. What if the elbow not right? You got to watch what Terence Crawford doing. And then on top of that, what if Crawford don't want to come back? He said him and Turkey had plans, outside of, life after boxing. That's what he said. We had plans life after boxing. So who knows if Crawford want to come back? It's $1 million question. Who knows if he wants to come back? And who knows if Canelo Alvarez is going to want to come back and do his thing? So, that's $1 million question. That's $1 million question. Who knows if he wants to come back? But in reality, I don't really see Canelo being too far off weight. So I don't see one of them fighters, he take that time off where he blow up so huge that, he too far off weight. I don't really see that for the most part happening. I just honestly think it's just going to be, do he want to get back in there or do it again? But plans change, especially when you're talking about 365. Anything can happen in 365. Is it going to take him a whole year to recover from elbow surgery? No. He probably can be back and do something by Cinco de Mayo. He probably can come back and do something by Cinco de Mayo. I'm just keeping it a bean. He can make something jump by Cinco de Mayo. But is the will there to still want to do it? And that's the $1 million question. Is the will there for that man to want to get in there and tussle? And then obviously negotiations got to be there. I mean, and quite frankly, they would love to probably put that on Paramount Plus on Zuffa. That'll be a huge fight for them on that type of platform, on CBS. What can Canelo do over the years that he didn't do other than catch Crawford slipping? That's what Sugar Ray Leonard called himself catching Roberto Duran doing, slipping. He blew up in weight, like come back in ring. He had to cut all the weight real fast, looking for a competitive advantage. That's the $1 million question. That's the number one question. So, do Bud want to continue to fight? I heard he made significantly more than that $50 million they throwing around there. But do Bud want to continue to fight? And in reality, you want to enjoy the fruits of your labor and your new price point. This is why you got to get to it as quick as early. All that marinating is just dumb. The quicker you knock everybody off, the quicker your name build, the quicker your popularity build, and the quicker your price organically goes up. So if you getting busy with these type of fights quick, once you get that fight, Your bag don't do nothing but go up from there usually. So if you 28, 29, 30, you get to enjoy 50, 60, 70, $100 million a fight. Cool. But if you want to wait, you want to nickel and dime and stretch it out until you, you know, 38, 35, and then you want just one, man, you can be cashing out all the time. You can be cashing out all the time. Nickel and diamond ain't always the best way, bro. It is not always the best way. You know, but ultimately, we'll see what happens in 2026. AJ and Fury seems to be on the table. So maybe some of these old fights, you know, old niggas still fight. You know, these young guys, Abdullah Mason, I like the way he sounded. Andy Cruz and Redmond Mortella, I like that. We need to get jiggy with some of these new, Gary Anton Rocha, Richardson Hitchison, Keyshawn Davis. They all should be getting in there with them guys. They all need to get in. Don't be a victim like these old niggas, man. Y'all paint your own narrative. Y'all create your own narrative. Everybody come get this money. Whether you fight, we fight now, hey man, we can have a trilogy for 10 times the price when we old. So, but yeah, but for them, bro, I want to see it though, to keep it a bean. I would love to see it, dog. Love to see them rematch again. Why not? Can this make Canelo legacy? Actually, could be his career-defining, legacy-defining fight if he can get the win. He don't have no legacy-defining fight. I mean, all his top fights was jaded to me, bro. Whether by the judges, whether it was by steroids, whatever, by the commission. Like this should show some type of resiliency and some type of battle, which he should have already stamped at least with Lara and Dimitri Bivol. And probably the room for, to build on what they did due to the handyman bag is Crawford. He got more to build on. Because he got more tools in the bank. But guess what? Father time, man, he started creeping up in these type of fights. And rest is sometimes the remedy, but sometimes for some guys it's activity. When you look at some bodybuilders, a guy like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he liked to work into exhaustion. That's how his body worked. The guy, I think it was Tom Clash, worked out with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He stopped growing because his body didn't work that way. But when he said he took about a month off after training with Arnold, all his muscles grew. He was bigger. But he couldn't train with that amount of duress. You know what I'm saying? And grow. And everybody's different. Some people need a break. And every situation is different. Sometimes you just need that break. Some mothers just need that break, a week or two, a weekend or two off from their kid, and they recharge. It usually ain't long. It usually ain't. Everybody need that break. In the gym, yeah, you might, man, shit, my legs a little tired. And every now and again, you can work through the fatigue. But sometimes, you just need a fucking week off. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you need a week off and you feel that much better. You can just keep going and going and going and going. Some people just need to be busy. A lot of addicts, they got to stay busy. A lot of people that struggle with food addiction, that struggle with depression, they got to stay busy. Come on, Brad, man. What's the big deal? You're in a rush to nowhere. A lot of people just got to stay busy. And that's just the God honest truth. And it's some of us that just need that break. But some of us can't afford to have a break. We slip into bad habits. We slip back to an addiction, back into depression. And like I was just saying, there's different strokes for different folks. That break for Canelo might do some good. He might come back a monster. You know what I'm saying? He might get some of his legs back. He's been one of the most active fighters in the world. So yeah, man, that's just my opinion on it, man. But yeah, man, shit, get that money, man. Crawford gonna be a shrewd negotiator again. You know, really, Canelo probably got to give a little bit to get the fight. If he ain't willing to play the B side a little bit, well, shit ain't gonna be no fight. So do you go out there and get that money with David Benavidez? I don't know, man. Hit the link in the description, join the Patreon, follow me on X, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, Amazon, Instagram, the whole nine. Peace.